Hello, children. Today we are going to talk about the Parsha of the week. Do you know what this week's Parsha is called? This week we have two Parshas again. We have Parshat Behar and Parshat Bechukotai. Let's sing that song. The Parsha of the week is Behar Bechukotai, Behar Bechukotai, Behar Bechukotai. The Parsha of the week is Behar Bechukotai, Behar Bechukotai. Now, in this week's Parsha, Hashem tells us about a very special mitzvah. A very special mitzvah. Can you guess what that mitzvah is? It's not the mitzvah of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It's not the mitzvah of Shabbat. It's not the mitzvah of tzedakah. It's a different one. I bet you can't guess what it is. Because it's not a mitzvah we do anymore. I'll tell you what it is. Hashem said that when we go to Eretz Yisrael and we are going to sow our field. Do you know what sowing a field looks like? Let me show you. Sowing a field means planting seeds. Sowing is another way of saying planting. See in this picture, someone is putting little tiny seeds into the ground. Do you know what happens to seeds when you plant them in the ground? That's right, they start to grow. So Hashem said, when you sow your field and when you prune your vineyard, do you know what pruning means? Pruning means when you cut off all the extra leaves and branches that are not helping the plant grow. So a vineyard is a place where grapes grow. So pruning your vineyard, in this picture you can see someone is snipping off some extra branches that are growing. Hashem tells us to, when we come to Eretz Yisrael, when we sow our field, plant some seeds, when we prune our vineyard, when we snip off some branches from our grape plants, and when we gather its fruits. Can you see this lady is gathering fruits from her apple tree? When we gather fruits from the trees. For 6 years we can do that. Hashem says we can do all those things for 6 years. Let me show you. 6. Can you see 6? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6. 6 years we can sow and prune and gather all the beautiful fruits that grow in our fields and our vineyards and our gardens. But Hashem says, on the 7th year is going to be a resting year. That means no sowing, no planting, no pruning, no gathering, no working in the fields. Hashem says that year is called Shemitah. Can you say that with me? Shemitah. Shemitah. Shemitah is the 7th year after we grow our plants for 7 years. There's a resting year when we don't do any work in the garden. Can you think why we need a rest? What happens when you get very tired? You work and work and work and work. You get a little bit sleepy. Well, guess what? The land also gets tired and it wants to have a rest. So Hashem says, after 6 years, on the 7th year, the land is going to have a little rest, have a little nap for 1 whole year. Now, friends, I want to show you something that I planted in my house. Would you like to see? All right, let's go have a look. So friends, I'm outside in my front garden and I have a planter. You see my planter? It has earth in there. And when I moved into my house, I wanted to plant some flowers. So I bought some seeds and I planted them in the earth. Now, I thought they weren't going to grow. I gave up on them. I thought, oh well, I'll try again later. But one day I came and I looked in my garden, and do you want to see what I saw? Let me show you. I saw some green shoots. Can you see that little shoot growing? It's growing. And I saw another one growing there, and a third one here. And look, there's a little baby 4th one behind this. And the big one here, look how big this one is growing. Can you see? They're growing in my garden, and I'm so excited. I'll keep you posted to let you know how big they grow. I wonder if you have anything growing in your garden. Have you planted something this spring that started to grow? Maybe we can do that together. Wouldn't that be fun? Growing things is one of my favorite things. It makes me so happy. I love growing and planting. Now let's get back to the Parsha. When you plant something, it starts to grow. Now, can you stop it from growing? Sometimes it just grows all by itself. So, when it was Shemitah, when it was the 7th year, and all the things were growing, what would we do with all those things that were growing? We weren't allowed to gather them. If they were growing in the garden, let's say we had strawberries growing or apples growing, were we allowed to take a basket and collect all the fruit and bring it inside to eat it for dinner? Hashem said no gathering. So what would happen to all that fruit and vegetables and things that were growing in the garden, in the fields? What would happen to all of it? You know what Hashem said? Hashem said that anyone who wants can come and take it. So if you want to come take it, you can take 1 or 2 and eat it. Your servants, your like maids, or your neighbors, or even the animals, everyone can come and take those fruits. It's not for you, Hashem said, it's for everyone else to take. See that? That's what happens in Shemitah. So in Eretz Yisrael, a farmer would be able to relax in the Shemitah year. He wouldn't be able to go to work. He would have to stay home and rest. Or he could do some other stuff that he likes to do. He couldn't work in the garden, in the field. He would have to stay home. Is that happening in your house? Or is it like Shemitah now, when your mum and your daddy don't get to go to work? Or are they working from home? It's a little bit different, right? When it's Corona, your mummy and daddy might not be able to rest like in Shemitah. But I want to tell you something else. The farmer might, even though it was his resting year, in his heart, he might be feeling a little bit worried. Can you see that? He might be feeling a little bit worried. Why do you think he could be feeling worried? Mr. Farmer feels worried. He's worried that, what if someone ruins his field? And he's worried about maybe he won't have anything to eat. And after Shemitah, he's going to have to go back to work, but there won't be any food. There might not be food ready for him when it's the 8th year, the year after Shemitah. He might be hungry. He might get worried. Oh, what if I don't have any food? What if I get hungry? What if I can't feed my children and my family? That's something that the farmer might feel in his heart. He might feel worried. But you know what Hashem says? Hashem says, don't worry, Mr. Farmer. Trust in me. I'm going to make sure that when it's year number 6, let me show you, when it's this year, when it's number 6, when it's year number 6, I'm going to bless your field with so much food that you're going to have enough for year number 6, the Shemitah year, and the year after Shemitah. So you don't have to worry, Mr. Farmer. You can trust in Hashem. You can trust in me, Hashem says. You don't have to worry. You can rest in Shemitah without worrying, because you know who supplies everything. You know who gives you all your food and all your money. It comes from Hashem. And Hashem always looks after you. He never stops. So you don't have to worry, Mr. Farmer. Okay? Now that's what this Parsha teaches us. We can trust in Hashem because He's always there, looking out for us and looking after us. Trust in Hashem and you will surely know Hashem will help you wherever you may go. Trust in Hashem and you will surely know Hashem will help you wherever you may go. Now, can you think of another mitzvah that's similar to Shemitah? I'll give you a clue. It's we work for the number 6, and the number 7 we rest. So in Shemitah, we work for 6 years and we rest on the 7th year. Now, what happens after 6 days of work? What happens on that 7th day? You guessed it, it's Shabbat. On Shabbat, we rest. So can you see how Hashem is teaching us to rest? That we work and then we rest, and we work and then we rest. Resting helps us rejuvenate and get ready to do more work afterwards. It's a very, very important time. Thank you, Hashem, for teaching us about resting. All right, friends, if you would like to do a coloring sheet, I'm going to leave a link down below. Until next time, bye-bye.